Surviving abduction. 13-year-old Jayme Closs is back home safe and sound after being held in captivity for nearly 3 months. But Jayme's ordeal is far from over. That, according to Katie Beers, who herself survived being kidnapped 26 years ago when the then 10-year-old spent 17 days in a dark and horrifying underground dungeon.
My time in captivity was devastating and heartbreaking.
Katie Beers says she tries not to dwell on her horrifying ordeal, but whenever she's confronted with visual images of another kidnapping, she can't help but remember what she was forced to endure at the hands of her captor, John Esposito.
I was held in a underground bunker. It was a 6 foot by 6 foot by maybe 7 feet high box that was in the ground. That was underneath a cement slab carport in the back of John Esposito's home. The bunker was actually built a year and a half prior to my abduction, specifically for me to abduct me. And within this box was another coffin-like box. And that coffin-sized box is where I spent the majority of my captivity, up to typically 23 and a half hours a day in the dark alone.
Katie says she suffered tremendous abuse prior to her kidnapping, allegedly at the hands of her godmother and her godmother's husband. But she always held on to hope that there was a better life waiting for her, and that hope is what gave her the will to survive her captivity.
You have to have something to fight for that's going to keep you going day after day, night after night, hour after hour. Honestly, I think that if I had given up any hope of surviving, of being released, I wouldn't have survived my ordeal. And I have to think that that's something that Jayme went through as well.
Katie says developing a relationship with her captor allowed her to manipulate him and eventually convince him to let her go.
You have to give them a reason to keep you alive, to want to keep you alive. And then you have to remember your reasons for wanting to stay alive and what you're fighting for.
While Katie can't say what gave Jayme the will to survive, she fears the teenager's recovery will take some time.
In Jayme's instance, both of her parents were killed, so she has a heck of a long road to recovery ahead of her. Not only is she going to have to recover from the ordeal of being kidnapped and whatever she experienced over those almost 3 months, but then she's also going to have to allow herself to grieve for the loss of her parents. Honestly, I don't think that she allowed herself to properly grieve while she was in captivity. If she had, I don't think that she would have had such a willingness to survive.
Katie credits being placed with a loving foster family and working with an expert therapist for her recovery. She's happily married with 2 children and believes Jayme can also reclaim her life with the right support.
Definitely Jayme needs to stay around her family, stay around her loved ones. I also think wholeheartedly that she shouldn't talk about the ordeal that she went through until she's ready. It sounds like her family is amazing, her aunts and uncles, and I believe grandparents, and they're gonna make sure she gets every single ounce of help that she can.
Unlike Jayme, Katie knew her kidnapper, who was actually a family friend. John Esposito was sentenced to 15 years to life for the 1992 crime, but was found dead in his cell in September of 2013. He apparently died of natural causes.